Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Barco here with Brian Galkey,
Yes.
and we're Aces 53. And if you don't know what Aces 53 is, go check another one of our videos. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you.
We
You just have
explain
to
it
know.
weekly about how I came up with this because of in college, somebody explained to me, remember 4 aces and a joker, attitude, commitment, enthusiasm, and smile, what you bring to the table in sales, or I say anything you do, you bring to the table. And that joker is that unique ability that you have or you learn. And we bring a person to explain that to you on Thursdays. And that is what we consider our joker. So don't take it personally. It's not like
Right.
Batman's joker. We don't make you put a big lipstick up the side of your face. You're just good to go.
Yeah, it is funny though when I tell people like, yeah, we always have on a joke. They're like, well, I don't know if I like the name. Well, let me explain the concept. Then they're usually
And
cool
then
with
they
it.
go, yeah, I get it. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to talk about branding today, and we're going to other stuff. And because this Thursday we have a person who is supposedly really good at branding, we'll see how that works.
Yeah, she is.
And we're
Really
not
good
talking with I know Brian's from Texas. You guys are probably thinking branding iron. No, that's not what we're talking
about. No, that's not what it. Damn it. So I should go
All right,
take it out of fire.
Right. Before we went, or do they use electric now more than anything else?
Oh, do they really? Didn't know
There's
that.
some electric one, that they just, psh, I've seen them here. Maybe that's just Californians.
Could be.
Trying to
Well,
be
I know for a
green.
while that was a big thing. Was instead of getting a tattoo in college, people were getting branded. So,
Yeah. No, thank you.
each their own. Yeah, I'm good.
That hurts too much.
I burned myself on the stove. I don't see how that would be fun to do anything else.
Nah, no, thank you. All right, before we were live on the thing we were talking about, because my last viral video, which I haven't had another one because I haven't, to be honest with you, I have been the worst about my video posting lately. I've done my normal other stuff, but not my normal shorts. And you were talking about how you just had one go extremely viral and slap me in the face by another 500,000, which was, it's 1 point what?
1.2 as of this morning.
Yeah, see, I haven't had one go viral on Instagram.
See,
that's where I'm more was a TikTok.
Yes, to what we were talking about before. I'm actually going to go back into TikTok now. I know it's taken off on Instagram. Why not see if you put a little bit of money behind it, will it get boosted there as well? Yeah. So we shall see. But yeah, it was one I posted last week because it was just me analyzing faces of people on the screen. And what I found is, the thumbnail is important, but it was people want to comment.
Hold on. You actually put a thumbnail on there too?
Well, no, I just pick where in the video do you want your thumbnail to be? And so
instead the start of it, you mean the start
with a video, I picked something of interest, which is arrows pointed at the guy's face, and then I start to explain the features. And the funniest thing that pops up is in it, and I say, well, you can see his eyebrows right above his eye, talking about eyebrow height, and that's why the saying in it says low brows. And I've gotten more comments from people going, well, where else is it going to be? On their chin, on their ear? And I'm like, I didn't know I was going to need crayons and everything else with it, but yes.
No, but we've talked about that before. Embrace your haters. They're the
100%.
best people. For nothing, they will help boost your stuff more than anybody else.
Here is the okay.
You didn't believe me until now, did you?
Well, no, I started doing it after you said it. But there was someone who was sitting there, writing hateful stuff, and I just respond back because the whole thing is, all you're doing is helping me. When you comment, you're helping me. And so then what you do, I'm going to show them, I'm going to go do add it to my own stories. So then he just shared it with his entire audience. I'm like, way to hurt me there, buddy. It just, so yeah, it went, 200,000, then all of a sudden 300,000. Then I woke up the next day and it was 25,000 new followers and it was up to 900,000 views. And then as of this morning, it was, let's see what's that right now. Instagram.
See, you would never gotten that with our past people.
Oh, I agree. Okay, let's see. Well, thanks again to what we talked about, all the tools we use, because all I did was take a clip from an existing talk. So it's at 1.24 million views right now with 26,000 likes and 10,500 saves. So,
well, that it's what you talk about is a very good subject to understand, but the haters are the most important people. So
here is what I love calling out is if you're going to make a comment, I don't care, do it. But when you make a comment and you have your account set to private and you have where you can't be tagged in the responses, I'm going to go into the replies anyway and call you out. Because if you have more, like there's one person on there, 7 total posts to their private account, and they've responded to me 8 times. And I said, you know, maybe, just maybe, you should focus on your own profile. But if you want to keep going, let's go. It cracks me up because I'll go look up. If somebody talks trash, the first thing, what do? Reverse stalk them. Go look and go, how many posts do they have?
I
'Cause
don't. I just engage and move on.
oh no, I like to know something about them because I want them to know I took the time to go look at theirs and I'm not just responding. So I look and I go, okay, is it set to private? If it's set to private, how many posts have they done? Because I'm going to talk about that later.
Do you talk about that? This person did this and they posted. Is that what you say? Or do you
I'll go
type
back
it?
in and I'll literally say, like, this one guy, he responded about 2 or 3 times and he's like, you're an idiot, you're bald and fat, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I went and I said,
you state the obvious. Thanks for hurting me.
I said, I corrected him on something and I said, if you're going to make comments, be a man and just leave it so that you can be tagged in the response. If you took the time to say it, what's the harm in you doing? So he came right back and I said, still can't tag you in the response. It's just the people.
Did anybody come to your savior?
Oh yeah, there's some people who did. And there's one person who came in, sent me something in the DM, said, I like your stuff. I'm just not allowed to comment on anything right now because I got banned for talking about that there's only 2 genders. So I'm like, all right, well, thanks for the message. But yeah.
Well, next time say, God created man and a woman.
Yeah. It was just funny.
That's all I'm going to say. Not going to talk about any genders. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't believe somebody got banned saying there's only 2 genders.
Apparently in the comments, they were putting it in too many different people's faces. So just
gotcha.
Quick highlight, because we're talking about them. We'll move on to something else. So I posted it on, let's see, does it say what day I posted it? Thursday of last week.
What time?
It doesn't say that because it just says, do you want to?
You don't remember when you posted the video originally?
It was middle of the day because I was going to that event it was Thursday for sure, because Friday and Saturday I was at an event here local in Dallas.
Do you think that helped? The event you're at locally to get more?
No, it was a small group. So it's a guy named Kyle Wilson and Ron White, not the comedian. That's what everybody
not tater, not tater,
not tater salad. It is the guy that is a world memory expert. And so he was teaching strategies on how to memorize names. If you're familiar with what a memory palace is, have you ever heard of that?
No.
Okay. High level, what it is.
Hold on. I don't remember.
Yeah. It's basically where you use your house and you store items that you want to remember in different things. So, and you label everything with a number. So like here in my house, I can say, oh, well, the love seat's number 7 and the couch is number 8 and the fireplace is number 9. So when you need to remember things, depending on how many you need to remember, you can imagine putting them in those different locations. So what do you put in your microwave? What do you put in your oven? Those are called memory palaces.
Food.
And so it's basically you can memorize things that way.
And, so you're saying when I memorize somebody, I put so-and-so in my oven?
Yes. You can definitely put someone in your oven or your fireplace, depending on the mood. But it's basically how you memorize stuff. And then Kyle Wilson, he was the guy who originally owned Jim Rohn International. And he worked with Jim and he was his agent. And he was the guy that promoted him for a very long time. Then they sold it off to another company. So he covered marketing. Ron covered memory. Then we covered speed reading, how to memorize names, which is a skill I've vastly need to improve upon. And it was a very small, intimate setting. I think there were maybe 20 people. So imagine
those are some of the best.
They are, because you get the chance to talk with everybody. It was 2 days. They catered in lunch. They had a little from 5 to 7 o'clock, people could sing and hang out. And people flew in from New York for this event, all over. So there was a lady's really high up in real estate in New York, in Manhattan area. And so she brought her 2 daughters down. Then there was some military. Oh, that reminds me. A guy's going to reach out he helps military veterans. So I'm introducing him to you for helping the brave.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we took January off and our first one's this week.
Awesome. Well, this guy would be a great reference for you. He did, I think, 30 years inside. And good guy. But back to what we're going to be talking about.
No, we're stay with the veteran thing for a second. So I finally got my location for my fire walk for veterans.
Oh, nice.
It's April 12th. We're actually doing 2 days, April 12th and 13th. And it's going to be for veterans to walk on fire. I know a lot of people are like, ooh, who cares? It's not about you. It's about the ones that need the help. So
it shows that you can overcome limited beliefs. Have you ever done one?
No, but we talked about it. And I sent the video out to a bunch of people, but I understand what it's for. I was just never in a location to where I could, where it was. And I didn't want to fly. No offense. Love Tony Robbins of Awakening the Giant Within. The
Right.
new shit, because he was at some stuff that I've been at, and
Yeah.
I just can't get past how people say, okay, breathe through your heart. You don't breathe through your fucking heart.
We before, when I
I'm
was
sorry, that's just me. Other
yeah,
people are fine with it. I'm medical background. So when
yes,
someone says something a certain way that doesn't work with how I know the body works, it just throws everything off for me. Move on.
right. And too analytical. What do they call that? There's a term for it besides too analytical.
Being proper.
It could be. I did it with Tony Robbins. As a matter of fact, I took my now ex for her 38th birthday. That's what we did. I bought the UPW. We did the firewalk. It was
What's
fun.
UPW?
Unleash the Power Within. That's his like barrier to entry.
We don't do acronyms, remember?
That's true. Yeah, it's his barrier to entry Tony Robbins course. And then, of course, they go up in terms of both duration and cost when you go anything. So I think it's Unleash Power Within, UPW. Then there is Date with Destiny. And that one's where you fly out to either Florida or Fiji. And that's a 5 to 7 day. And then you can get into all of his other courses that are there too. So if you've ever seen I'm Not Your Guru on Hulu, it's on Netflix. That is the phase 2. So after UPW, when you go to this thing, you stay, I think, 5 days. That is Date with Destiny. And that's what that film is based upon.
And if you ever, since you're on talk about Netflix, the guy I had at my Rotary last week, he helps veterans with PTSD, teaches them how to surf over in Santa Cruz-ish area in Monterey. It's just easier to say that so people know where it's at. Yeah. And he came over, talked about it. There is a documentary on Netflix about it, Resurfaced. And talks about what he does and everything about it. And he came over and we talked about it, and then just helping vets with PTSD. That's why I'm setting up the Firewalk, just to help them. There's a few people I know through Afghanistan who feel like, what a waste of my time. What have I done? And a couple people I know in the sheriff's department. And so it's also for first responders, but we're focused on veterans. The first night's going to be local veterans and everybody who's put it together. Nice. Second night's going to be all the other veterans from out of the area coming in. So that way, everybody who's part of it can get done Friday night, and then everybody else will get done on Saturday night.
Got it. Very cool.
Yeah. Gotta give back.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, I think the guy's name is Tim Cotton that I'll introduce you to. So I'll look for that when we're done with recording today. But what we were going to talk about is the importance of branding. And that was I don't know about you, but that was a struggle when I got started, because imposter syndrome started.
So here, can I explain why is your problem? You come from a background where you work for a company. You didn't think about yourself, or could you talk about yourself?
Exactly.
It wasn't that it was hard for you. You just had a limiting belief because of where you worked. They didn't allow you to do or you thought you couldn't do it because you didn't want to get fired, and it didn't work out so well for you.
I did get fired.
What I mean by that is you weren't, and this is for everybody.
Yes.
You're working for somebody, you're trying to build a thing to get out of there. Don't worry about it, because one thing is going to happen. Either you're going to quit or you're going to get fired. One of those two things is going to happen.
Yes.
Period.
Well, and I said this long before I was ever fired. I told employees everything. You can't rely on one source of income, because there is no more company loyalty. It doesn't matter how many. Matter of fact, the longer you've been with the company, the more at risk you are, because they look and go, oh, well, you make too much in salary.
Middle management gone.
Exactly. It's crazy what we were raised, industrial age, go to school, get a good job, retire, die, then live your life. That's not required anymore. And that's a big mistake. You're leading me right down the path. I did subtle skills first instead of Brian Galkey, because I thought, I need to have a company name. But what you'll realize over time is people want to know people who have a business, not a business that has people. And I wish I would have done more things under my name. Now, post getting fired, you can go and Google my name now. And before, nothing would show up except for the 9-to-5 job stuff. Now there's pages and pages of podcasts and everything else, because even though it says subtle skills, actually Instagram helped, because in order to get a blue check mark, you have to put your name in. And so they'll find the account that now has almost 60,000 followers, versus my personal one is like 3,000.
Hold on. Which is it? Business or personal? Which is the one that has 60? The subtle skills?
Subtle skills. But because subtle skills now shows up, if you type in Brian Galkey, it shows up before my personal one.
Right.
So
I know, but that's still not branding you.
I
That's
agree.
branding the company.
Agree.
And
And
that
that's
is
the challenge is now how do I transition everybody to my personal one?
easy.
That's what
You send a
some
message to everybody saying, hey, I need you to go over and like my personal account.
could.
Yeah, I need your
Just a few
help.
messages.
I need your help as much as I talk about branding and you need your company and your personal brand. I need
Mhm.
help because everything was done under my company brand more than my personal brand. Can so all you guys come and give me some love? I guarantee you half the people will do it. So
It would. There's some other reasons I'll keep it under subtle skills. We'll talk about that one offline.
yeah, I know, but that's
Yeah.
you just move on from that because
Yeah.
eventually you're gonna have to get rid of that anyway.
Yep. Agreed. But so what we have coming on Thursday is a branding expert. And the cool thing about her is that when people go to her, they can go with an idea. So I had a local friend in Dallas who is currently living the corporate life, but she's getting a coaching certification. And just she told me what she was looking for. I'm like, do you have a website? She's like, no. I said, do you have a logo? No. And
I'm not
what
laughing, but it's
yeah,
like, come on, people, what's your problem?
exactly. Well, again, she's made her way very well in corporate America. And so when we were talking at lunch, she's like, well, should I wear like the black and white and muted colors because that's what corporate wants? I'm like, but that's not you. And I'm happy to see the Joker is coming on Thursday, shares when she's working on people's branding and creates entire branding guides for them. And what she helped put together looks really good. And it fits with what this person is wanting to do with her coaching business and help with leadership and things. And it's a really good job. And that's one of the things I do appreciate is our Joker on Thursday. She posts going through the entire process. A lot of people are like, hey, we're branding experts. You just give us this and we give you a final product. She shares what she's doing with the different people. So you get a kind of an idea of who she's doing, what she's doing. And well, we mentioned it before. I actually met her through a fairly big person. She does some high profile people's web pages and logos and things of that nature. But the cool thing about it, like you said earlier, is a lot of people go, oh, well, if she helps this big person, maybe she can't help me. No, she's helping someone who is just getting started. And you mentioned that because you said it kind of hurt you in real estate, that when people saw you've got a book, you've been in a documentary, they thought, oh, well, Ed
It
only
was too
deals with
big.
big high end mortgages now.
Well, that was the radio.
Yeah.
I mean, the radio star. It's like,
Yes,
video killed the radio star. Oh,
exactly.
I do video too.
Luckily you do. But
No,
yes.
and I started videotaping my radio shows long before it was what we should have done. So that
Yeah.
just helped out. But going forward, I mean, you can't, and that again, no matter how big you are, people are going to think, oh, he's too big for me. Right.
Mhm.
And that, and that's okay. Just keep going and keep telling people, no, I'm here for everybody.
Well,
Because
that's
before you know it, Brian will be too big for me because he's got double my following on Instagram now.
well, I didn't want to tell you, but yes, we're breaking up, Ed. but that goes back to what we've talked about before. I'm amazed if you think I'm going to call CEO of a company, people go, oh shit, gatekeeper, can't get in, can't do that. How am I going to get there? I got to be creative.
Just go to the gym the same time they do.
You go to the gym, or they answer their own DMs a lot. You and I've talked about the amount of people that are quote unquote celebrities or big time are usually the ones who answer their own DMs. Now, do some of them have bots? Yes. Do some of people have a social media manager who does it? Yes. But a lot of people answer their own stuff because they want to stay in contact with their followers. And that's pretty
That
impressive.
reminds me, I got to turn off my bot on Go High Level because I had one person reached out to me about being on podcast or whatever, and the bot kept going. It's like, stop.
Oh, really? Whoops.
Well, it just says this is Ed Parco's team, and saw we missed your call, blah blah blah. We're not here right now, that kind of stuff, which is how it should be. But some people just don't get it. So.
That reminds me, Joel was in Dallas last week, so I went and had coffee with him before he went to a Go High Level event. And there are some marketing changes that people should be aware of that went into place February 1st. So we need to bring him on as a Joker.
You're talking about the email stuff?
Email and SMS, yes.
Yeah. Well, the SMS has been going on for a while.
Yes, but it was another one that come February 1st, you have to have certain terms and conditions and privacy information on your website.
It's supposed to have been there for a lot longer.
Yes, but it went into effect February 1st. So
right.
I'll reach back out to Joel.
Yeah. Joel
Burr, B-U-H-R.
Okay.
The one that we had on before.
Right. Well, dude, I can remember everything. I'm a memory expert. I didn't put him in the oven. Must have put him on my back porch.
There you go.
Yeah. Which I don't go out there much. No, I mean, the big thing is just the email. right? Because
Yeah.
if you're sending a lot of email, servers are going to start blocking you and that kind of stuff if you didn't have
Hmm.
it set up right. I'm just happy the way they had it go, where you have to do it, because that makes sure I have to get real emails from real places now.
Yes. And he was going in and fixing like some of my DNS settings and records and all kinds of things that I would have not known about.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And I reached out to Ralph about it. He goes, I'll look at it Monday, Tuesday, see, make sure you're there. You getting denied? I'm like, no. He goes, well, then you should be fine. But I'm like,
yeah,
yeah,
just double check. Right.
yeah, exactly. And that's
Yeah.
why I use a lot of stuff. I can order stuff through certain people and stuff and do stuff. Well, I use it through different ways to make sure that I don't ever get blocked.
Gotcha. See, maybe something you should do. We should do an episode on one day
No,
and then have the Joker come on after that.
they'll be sleeping if I explain it.
Well, it happens. But yeah, so we'll have someone on Thursday talk about branding. And the thing that I think a lot of people get in the analysis paralysis is thinking, oh, I have to have the perfect logo and the perfect. No, if you look, it's like everything else. People start with a logo, then they change over time. And if people are like, no, that's not true. Look at every single company that's out there. American Airlines used to be different than now it's just the AA, right? That's red, white, and blue. Pepsi changed their logo. Every single company's gone through a rebrand to simplify kind of what they do with a logo instead of having long corporate names and everything else.
Right.
So,
well, it's I don't know if he came up with it, but what Steve says about, get going, then get good, kind of like we did,
right.
I was good, but you finally got there. So that was good.
I'm inching my way along.
Dude, you're on more stages. The thing
Yeah.
that's helping me so much each week is the Rotary thing I've been doing. I was like, damn, I should have done this earlier. I could have been much better when I spoke at the all the different times I speakeasies.
Right.
Yeah. Now I just like, who cares?
It's definitely a practice thing. That's had somebody reach out to me the other day. They're like, I want to hire somebody to teach me to be a speaker. I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, I read a book once. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. This is a real life activity. You have to get out in front of people and talk. And then
here's the best way to do it. Start a podcast. Start talking on video. If you can't talk on video to people, you're not going to be good on stage.
Right.
Right. And we talked about this before. You got to come up with 5 different little starter stuff, or to start different things and know those back and forth, and you're like, okay, where did I leave? Oh, boom, let's go. Kind of thing.
That's one of the things that Ron taught this weekend was if you have a speech to give and you can use those 5 places around your house, well, then as you're talking, you think, okay, what's in each location to make sure you hit the points you want in your speech and you don't have to hold anything.
That's actually pretty good, because then I could okay, well, I need, that actually is a smart thing to do.
Yeah. And that's what he's talking about. That way you can walk up.
Maybe you could get him to come on and explain.
We probably could. I'll reach out to him. I had connected him with Ryan because he's going to go speak there, I think. A different tip that somebody does, and obviously I'm using, this is not a book, but what some people do is they'll hold up a book and they'll go, yeah, okay, here's my new book. And on the other side of the book is actually their note of what they're supposed to talk about. Yep.
Yeah. That's funny.
Hey, it's a way to get it done. So,
well, here's a prime example. Last week, at my Rotary, when we had that gentleman coming in to talk, they sent me the PowerPoint the night before or day before, and I know he was out to dinner with the guy that brought him to me, and I called that guy and go, I want to go over his presentation. Well, the guy didn't pick up his freaking phone, and then he texts me like 2 hours later, sorry, I didn't pick up the phone because I was out to dinner with so and so. No shit. I know you were out to dinner with him. That's why because I'm not going to call you that late for any other reason, Jim. And so then that morning he comes in, I go, I want to make sure we're good. Oh no, what about all these pictures? And of course it was on a Google Drive, not in a PowerPoint perfectly where I could just transfer it over. So, and in order to keep his colors, I had to do this, the shift command F4. So you can copy, drop, paste, the whole 9 yards. It was a pain in the ass. And it was like 25 different. No, it was just easier to do it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. 20, so I'm doing it, and I started at 6:50. My thing starts at 7. Next thing I know, it's 7:07. I hear all these people clink, 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 clink. And so I walked over and I said, hey, here's the problem. And I explained what happened. I pointed at Jim. It's his fault. Just give me 5 more minutes. And then I did it, started the whole thing. But add that stress on top of your normal talking.
Right.
By the time I was done, I was just, I don't know how I did the 10 o'clock with you.
You just weren't very good. No, I'm kidding.
No, but what I'm getting at is there's stuff that's going to happen don't worry about it because you're not going to remember anyway.
Exactly.
You're only going to have evidence and if someone's videotaping you.
Yeah. And it's kind of like I was telling somebody who's getting ready to get married. I'm like, something's going to go wrong at the wedding, but only you know about it. And that's the thing is people think, oh, they're going to find out. They're going to find out. Nobody knows what you're going to talk about. So nobody knows when you screw up. It's kind of like,
or pausing.
Yeah, pausing. Anything at any event can have an issue. The question is, was it bob and weave when it does? Do you just get paralyzed and go, or do you just move? Like when I was a sales engineer a long time ago, well, we knew what the plan was to go through the product demo. When something crapped out on the demo, there was a guy I used to do presentations with that he knew when something wasn't working right, and he would just start talking and distract the people while I'm over there fixing it. And so it would work again. But you have to have that level of knowledge of, there's a good book. What's the name of it? It was about mentalism. And it's not, the reason to read it isn't to learn to be a mentalist. It's to learn how mentalists set up their acts. And so, for example, when they're talking to someone and they have them come up and they like, oh, and guess what is your lucky number? The number you chose. And they say like 14. Well, they're wearing a jacket and a vest and everything else. And they've got an envelope here, an envelope here, envelope here, envelope here. And so they've thought, what's every possible way that this is going to come out? And depending on what the person picks determines which pocket do they go to. And I share that. Yeah, I know. Because that's a great idea of how to set things up is you just need a backup plan in case the primary plan falls through. What else can you do?
Before you keep going, a year ago, remember I had that card trick? I talked about how we could pick the right card for somebody, like to pick a card, and then you go through by, okay, is it red or blue? Okay, and then whatever color they pick, if it's not the right one, okay, then we'll keep blue. When it would have been, oh, that's correct, we'll hold on to red. You know what I mean? You walk them down the path to get them to where you want to go. There's so many different ways to do it.
100%. Well, you start digging into stuff a lot. Like even at health clubs, if you go and you sign up, they'll have the pen out. And when you go, oh, and which of the gym memberships do you want? And they lay the pen at the one that they want you to sign up for, like it pointing out. I mean, there's so much tactics that go into just different sales presentations and everything. We're kind of getting off subject, but it's fun.
No, it's all connected to what we do here. It's all about, we're talking about sales and everything about, branding's about how to get to where you want to be in life and making sure you do it right. And it's not going to be perfect to go with. You just have to, but I think most people, before you brand, you got to find out who you are. You got to find out who's your perfect client. If you don't know who your perfect client is, you can't do your brand.
Right.
And I'm even finding that to myself these days. I didn't want to niche down as much as I have to because it's limited in my area, but it's bringing me more people the more I help vets, and more veterans come my way.
A great book right now is, well, not right now, it's been a good book for a very long time. Book Yourself Solid. We talked about it a few weeks ago.
I have it right down there, and I haven't cracked it open yet.
It's a good book because it's, who are you? What do you want to do? Who's your ideal audience? What's the red velvet rope that you're going to qualify people to be your customers? Because
I take the cover off. I take the cover off so I don't ruin the cover.
There you go. I always get the paperback. But it's, who do you want to let in to be your customer? Because the worst thing you can do is take money from someone you don't like. And there was a good quote. Let me see if I can find the quote from this past weekend. That was an old Jim Rohn quote that they gave us. Yeah, so I was finally able to find it. It was actually Zig Ziglar said, never do a good deal with a bad guy. And what does that mean is don't always just take anybody who has money. Yes, there are times where you're getting the business started where any money coming in helps you continue to stay in business, but you want to start limiting that type of interaction as soon as possible. So that's what that book is about, is how do you determine who your ideal client is? How do you find them? And then what are the qualifications for them to come in? And we've heard this, even Steve's talked about before about somebody will buy a ticket to the speakeasy and they do some digging. They're like, not the right person for the room. And so they'll just say, hey, sorry, there's not any space. But that's a smart thing to do because one bad person can make it where people don't want to come back to your event. Now, for someone like that, who it's repeat business a lot from the people, and that's part of the reason we go is because we get to see the people and catch up and things. But you put the wrong person in the room and it'll turn somebody sour and then they don't want to come back. Correct.
And it's the same thing with employees. Don't hire the wrong person. If you do, get rid of them fast.
Yeah.
Don't keep them around because, it's a problem. You bitch about it. You should have got rid of them a long time ago.
The another quote that was right next to it, since we were talking about this earlier, is Dennis Waitley said, "Prime time is the main time," meaning 9 to 5 is where you break even while you're at your day job. But prime time is when you put in the hours afterwards to be successful or to start another business. So what else are you doing? And there's nothing wrong with being a 9 to 5. I was one for 21 and a half years, but anybody who's only focused on their job and not figuring out something else to do is setting themselves up for failure.
Right. God, my dogs are going crazy with that inspector.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many dogs you got? One.
Yeah. That's why. Great mic though, because I can't hear anything.
And that's what we talk about. Get the right stuff. I saw some people doing what I do on a weekly basis, early morning, like a coffee with so-and-so, and they're at a table and they're talking, and you can see the cameras far away. They're echoing on it. It's like, yeah, just spend the time. And I was like, those little, remember those little, not lapel, but those square ones. What are they called? This, what's it?
I know. I have a pair. I don't like them.
Yeah, they're right over the,
I have a pair. I don't like them. I don't know why.
I don't know why. They're easy. They look like, what, but if you're trying to get quickly good sound on your phone while you're recording something or they're perfect for you. Both people can talk. They have their own. They have one thing that plugs in. Yeah. Overall, I hate how they look on everything, but they're good, quick stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I got a pair
Rode mics.
Yeah. Rode mics.
Yeah. And whatever helps, because a lot of people still go, why do you wear headphones? Because I want to make sure I sound good.
Yep.
Whether I sound good or not, I want to make sure that at least the sound is good.
We talked when I first got started. Everybody said, all right, if you're thinking about you're going to record, you need a good microphone. Your entry level one is a Yeti. And so I had a Yeti for a very long time. But you're right. After upgrading to this one, I can hear the difference when people talk or when I talk.
Right. Well, everybody thinks Yeti is the way to go because that's what you see promoted everywhere. What does that tell you? Don't always listen to ads.
Right. Well, and that's what I would see when I first started looking at speakers in the industry. A lot of people had the Yeti, or I remember when during the pandemic, I joined one like mastermind, and they were creating a course on speakers, and they're like, "Hey, and we'll raffle off this Yeti." And so I thought Yeti was the good one until you start looking around, you see other people using Shure mics instead, and you go, "Okay, maybe I should invest in that." And that is,
I hate to cut this short, but I got to deal with this other stuff.
Yeah, that's good. You want to just take us out then?
All right. Why don't you take us out? I brought us in.
I know, but sometimes you like to do those too. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Ed, thank you for being here today. We are Aces 53 here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays with Ed and I. Thursdays, we try and bring in a guest to teach you something special. Best way you can help us is subscribe. And with that, we'll see you guys on Thursday.
All right. Thanks for being here.